Thank
But
you,
if you
Chelsa.
want to, if you want to watch the Masters and watch it a little smarter and maybe make some money on it, you need to listen to our next guest. She is Pamela Maldonado. She is a sports betting analyst for Yahoo Sports and host of the Stack of Stats podcast. You can follow her on Twitter at Pamela M35. So, Pam, let's start with a question that I'm sure everybody has asked you. Are you betting on Tiger Woods in any capacity at the Masters?
I'm not betting on Tiger Woods, but it doesn't mean that I'm betting
Oh,
against him either. I'm just not. I'm a very conservative bettor, even for fun and pancakes and all that I like to do. No, you know what? If he does well, I'm so excited for him. It's great for the sport of golf. It's great for fans and spectators. But as far as putting my money down on it, I think there's a lot more value elsewhere.
So, Pamela, I'm always fascinated by your process because I think you're a very sharp bettor. And I know that you do it manually, right? You go through with the pen and pad and you make your notes and things like that. So, if you're betting golf, how is that process different for you? What do you look at when you're thinking, okay, I like this bet or this person to make the top 10 or best lefty, whatever it is?
For golf, I don't use pen and paper, which has been a big help because
Oh,
there's a lot more golfers in the field than there are like football teams. So for pen and paper, it is for college football mostly. But for no, I use Rick Run Good. Their site, it's a really great site, and I get all of my data points from that. But every week, my process kind of changes because it depends on the course layout. I do play golf, so I can look at the layout of a course and kind of figure out what is the iron shot going to be more important? Is off the tee going to be more important? Is the short game going to be most important? And is course history weighted heavily? Is it not? Is weather a factor? There's a lot more details going into golf, and each week by week it changes. So I can appreciate that aspect of the study process of the PGA.
Masters is a little different because we keep hearing it that experience matters so much, and it's not
Mhm.
necessarily guys that are able to just bomb it off the tee or have these great stats. You got to know where to hit it. And from playing golf, I think you can probably identify with that. But looking at the Masters this week, is there somebody that you like that kind of fills all of these boxes, including, the experience factor?
Oh man, there's a lot of players here. I know that Cam Smith is one of those players that's going to be a bit under the radar because he doesn't have the driving distance compared to other players. But I still love Smith in this spot because he has a really great short game. So if you're one of those players who's not necessarily a bomber, then you better make up for it in another part of your game. And that's what Smith has. He's one of those players that just figures out a way to get to the green and then he one putts and then he ends up winning tournaments. He's really good and he lost 5 strokes off the tee and he still managed to win the players, and it's because of that short game that he has. He has a solid iron game play. He's in strong field events. He took T2 at the November Masters, but those were different conditions. Well, he followed that up with a T10 last year. So Smith is one of those players at the top of the leaderboard that I'm definitely heavy on. I respect his game as a short gamer, and he can contend with these big field events and on a long course. So I'm interested to see how he ends.
damn, I have him at 14 to 1 to win it all. So I love hearing you say that. We're talking to Pamela Maldonado, sports betting analyst for Yahoo Sports. Make sure you follow her on Twitter, Pamela M35, and she's also host of the Stack of Stats podcast. I know there's some very specific bets that you can make that you're on, and one is, which I think is interesting, is best lefty.
Yes, I really do love Robert McIntyre. It's only like a bunch of like five, and Bubba Watson leads the field, leads that little category, and rightfully so. He's won the Masters before, but Robert McIntyre at plus 245, I think, is a really good value because he is somebody that he's on the Euro Tour a lot more than he does come stateside. But when he comes stateside, he doesn't miss the cut, and that's what you're looking for when you're taking bets. Somebody who's going to play all 4 rounds, and he does really well in these deep field events. He's been top 20 multiple times. He hasn't had a win on stateside, but I mean, if you're looking at somebody who's coming in with recent form, Bubba Watson has missed a cut 3 out of his last 5 tournaments. So something is going on there. And I know that we're talking about experience. Watson definitely has the experience here, but I'm going with Robert McIntyre, who's a little bit of a longer shot, but he has more consistency coming into his game as of late.
This doesn't help when you're betting on all lefties, but if I'm not mistaken, lefties actually line up well for this course. I believe that because it's fades for them, it's the way the course lines up. But other bets I think you like. There's a newcomer you like in the best debutante category.
Yeah, I love Cam Young. He's the third favorite up on the board. He's plus 800 behind Sam Burns and Seamus Power. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of players on this category that have won tournaments as of late. Cam Young is actually one that hasn't, but I think his game fits perfectly for what Augusta has to offer. You're talking about distance off the tee being really important because it rained a lot in March. It rained a lot this week, so it's only going to lengthen the course. So Young, he's second in the field for strokes gained off the tee for driving distance. He is really good around the greens, which is exactly what I want. I want a bomber and then somebody that if they miss the green, they can chip shot in to get close for either a birdie or a par to save par. And his game, he is the longest in this field in this little category of debutantes. There's 19 of them. He is the longest off for driving distance. So I'm going to trust that distance is going to definitely be more weighted heavily here. So I like Cam Young getting the third favorite at plus 800.
And when you bet golf, you think, okay, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Where can I put my money? But you can also make money on golfers that you think will not perform that well, as in missing the cut. And I know there's someone, maybe one or two you like there as well, Pamela.
I'm DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau at plus 162. Missed the cut is
Ooh.
probably my favorite bet of the weekend. I'm not sure if he's entirely healthy. He's missed the cut a couple of he just missed the cut at the Valero Texas Open last week. He had an interview where he said that he's lost his confidence because of the injuries that he's had. He had a torn labrum, he had a broken bone in his left hand, and he's recovering from that clearly because his results are showing it. At the Valero, he didn't only have a couple bogeys, a bad round. He had a triple bogey, he had a double bogey, he was missing left and right, spraying it all over the course. He couldn't putt, he couldn't do much. And because of that, how do you expect to now come into a tougher field, come into where the conditions are going to be really rough because there's going to be wind, the rain is going to slow things down? I know that he's a bomber, but if you don't have that confidence, that's really tough sledding here. So plus 160 to miss the cut definitely looks like value in my eyes.
And also, Bryson DeChambeau famously said that the Masters is a 67, a par 67 to him, which is a slap in the face to the golf gods. And I'm pretty sure the golf gods live at Augusta. So for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be off Bryson as well. Let's end on a fun one. And this doesn't have to be a bet that we're holding you to, but just for fun, who do you think wins?
Oh man, I know that everybody is super excited for Justin Thomas here. That this has a huge opportunity for him to come in, and yes, he has one of the most experienced caddies by his side. So Justin Thomas at 16-1 is intriguing, but I'm really more interested in Brooks Koepka at 20-1. In his last 6 years, he has 4 major wins. He leads the field with scoring average, strokes gained off the tee, total round shot in the 60s, and birdie or betters at majors. He is just an absolute stud when it comes to these big field events, these big moment events. And he wasn't healthy here in the last couple of years. He had his knee injury where he missed the cut last year. Well, now he's healthy. He's in this. Before that, at here at Augusta, he had a T11, he had a T2, and a T7. There's definitely opportunity here, and you're getting the longer odds for him for somebody who is the best in the field at these exact types of majors events. Yeah, I love Brooks Koepka at 20-1.
Mr. Major Brooks Koepka always turns it on when the spotlight is the brightest. She is Pamela Maldonado. She is a sports betting analyst for Yahoo Sports. Find her on Twitter at Pamela M35. She is appearing on the Roman guest line as always. Pam, great insight today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for having me.